Hello there, good morning. It's a beautiful Monday morning. Such a delight to be on your screens this morning. And I'm glad you're able to join us this morning on iBrand Daybreak. How was your weekend? Mine was amazing. I hope you had a restful weekend. My name is Margaret Opara, and today on the show promises to be a roller coaster of amazing lineup of events. I'm not going to be doing this alone. I'm going to be doing this alongside my amazing co-presenter here.
Yeah, good morning, folks. Welcome to iBrand Daybreak. It promises to be another exciting edition of the show. It is the first for the week, talking about the second week in 2022, and the year definitely has begun in earnest. Margaret, how's your weekend?
My weekend was fine. I wouldn't say restful anyway, but nevertheless, it's one of the. Wasn't even when I hung out. Come on, who would have time to hang out? Something you and I we did something on Saturday. So where did the hangout come from? You know where we left?
Dinner date,
Sunday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday work. The only time I have for Sunday rest, I will not go on a date. No,
I mean, it's part of relaxation.
For me, there's nothing like that anyway. But I'm sure you went on a date because you're all smart. Pardon words. You went on a date with.
I was home. Oh,
but you had a restful weekend.
Definitely. With football.
With football, right? Of course, you're a sport lover. All right, we had a restful weekend where we don't know how your weekend was. Please do well to share your thoughts on our social media platform. Let's just know what you think about weekends. They say are made in China. They're very short. I don't know why they say that anyway. But we'll go on a very short break now. When we come back, we'll delve right into the news updates this morning. Please stay with us.
Swift Dry Cleaners Limited, professional dry cleaners, best in dry cleaning and laundry services that meets the needs of our consumers. Yeah, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Yeah, for clean wash and quick delivery. Yeah, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. For clean wash and quick delivery.
Swift Dry Cleaners. Clean wash, quick delivery.
True unripe plantain flour is 100% natural flour gotten from the processing of unripe plantain. It contains no addictive and has a net content of 500 grams. True unripe plantain flour contains vitamin A, B6 and C. It is gluten-free and rich in calcium. Consuming True unripe plantain flour helps to build and strengthen stronger bones and can be a great meal for diabetic patients. It decreases your chances of constipation as it has a high fiber content and provides you with a low-fat diet. Here are some steps to prepare your True unripe plantain flour. Firstly, mix True unripe plantain flour with hot water in a pot and gradually add water till you achieve desired thickness. Place over medium heat and turn very well for 4 to 5 minutes to get the right texture. Mold into a ball and place in a bowl and allow to cool. Serve with your choice of soup. True unripe plantain flour can be eaten with any variety of soup, be it your ofe oha, ofe onugbu, gbegiri, ewedu, or your miyan kuka. To get your True unripe plantain flour, contact us at 12 Olowera Isheri Road by First Welder bus stop off Omole Phase 2, Olowera, Lagos, Nigeria, or call 070-6663-8213 or 081-6397-4447. Distributors are needed nationwide.
Thanks for staying tuned. You are still on to iBrand Daybreak. Now it's time to bring you up to speed with news updates, and we'll begin with the local scene, where Nigeria's crude oil earnings were depleted by about 1.4 trillion naira between January and October 2021. And this is due to various concerns at terminals that prevented the production of 50.7 million barrels of oil during the 10-month period. Industry data obtained from different reports of the Crude Oil Marketing Division of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited in Abuja showed that in January, February and March, the volumes of oil lost due to production shut-ins were 3.6 million, 4.1 million and 3.1 million respectively. The summation of the crude oil volumes that were shut in between January and October 2021 indicated that the country lost about 50.7 million barrels of oil worth 1.4 trillion naira during the 10-month period. Factors such as community interferences, industrial actions by oil workers, COVID-19 outbreak at some terminals, pipeline vandalism, among others, curtailed oil production in various terminals, leading to huge financial losses for the country. Meanwhile, stakeholders urged the federal government to push for the deployment of latest technologies in securing oil infrastructure, as well as the avoidance of issues that would warrant industrial actions.
Now, the Senate Committee on Public Accounts has begun investigation of 14.7 billion naira proceeds of privatization of the defunct Power Holdings Company of Nigeria, allegedly hidden in commercial banks by the Bureau of Public Enterprise. The committee is acting on the audit query of the Auditor General for the Federation's annual report on non-compliance, internal control weaknesses, issues in ministries, departments and agencies of the federal government of Nigeria for the year ended 31st December 2019. The acting Auditor General of the Federation, Adolphus Agugu, had presented the report to the clerk to the National Assembly Ojo Amos on September 15, 2021, while the Senate and House Committees on Public Accounts began investigation of the queries. Meanwhile, the Bureau of Public Enterprise, in its written submission, stated that two separate sums of 3.2 million allegedly held in Fidelity Bank PLC and the 18.1 million held in Stanbic were unaudited bank balances that were actually no longer in existence as of the date of the audited financial statement. The probe is expected to review whether the BP's claims are true or not.
Now we'll move on to the African scene, where a leading Sudanese protest group on Sunday rejected a United Nations initiative to hold talks with the military aimed at restoring the country's democratic transition following an October coup. The move suggests Sudan's political deadlock and relentless street protests are likely to continue, with at least 60 people killed since the military took over. The UN's offer on Saturday came a week after embattled Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok resigned, citing a failure to reach compromise between the generals and the pro-democracy movement. The October 25 coup scuttled hopes of a peaceful transition over 2 years after a popular uprising forced the military to overthrow longtime autocrat Omar al-Bashir and his Islamist government. At the United Nations, 5 countries, the US, UK, Albania, France, and Norway, requested a United Nations Security Council meeting on the situation in Sudan. Diplomats said it will likely take place on Tuesday or Wednesday.
9 children were among at least 19 people killed and dozens injured when a fire tore through high-rise apartment building in New York on Sunday in one America's worst residential fires in the recent history. Witnesses reported seeing trapped residents screaming for help from windows during the deadly inferno that the city's fire chief said had been caused by a portable electric heater. Mayor Eric Adams told reporters that 19 people had been confirmed dead and 63 had been wounded, including several that were in critical condition. At least 200 firefighters responded to the blaze, which broke out just before 11 a.m. on the 2nd and 3rd floors of a 19-story building in the Bronx. The injured were taken to 5 hospitals. Many suffered from cardiac and respiratory arrest and severe smoke inhalation. Sunday's inferno comes just after 4 days after a fire in Philadelphia killed 12 people, including 8 children in a 3-story public housing building.
And finally, on the foreign scene, an infant boy handed in desperation to a soldier across the airport wall in the chaos of the American evacuation of Afghanistan has been found and was reunited with his relatives in Kabul on Saturday. The baby Sohail Ahmadi was just 2 months old when he went missing on August 19th, as thousands of people rushed to leave Afghanistan as it fell to the Taliban. During the tumultuous Afghan evacuation over the summer, Mirza Ali Ahmadi, the boy's father, who had worked as a security guard at the U.S. Embassy, and his wife Soraya feared their son would get crushed in the crowd as they neared the airport gates en route to a flight to the United States. The baby was located in Kabul, where a 29-year-old taxi driver named Amit Safi had found him in the airport and took him home to raise as his own. After more than 7 weeks of negotiations and pleas, and ultimately a brief detention by Taliban police, Safi finally handed the child back to his jubilant grandfather and other relatives still in Kabul. And that's all we have on news update at this hour. We'll go on a quick break right now. When we return, we'll be looking at the major headlines making national dailies. Please do stay tuned.
Oh boy, winning you was so easy.
I just couldn't stand those your powerful shots. That's what happened.
Really? Let's go to my place for dinner.
This fufu is so nice.
It's through unripe plantain flour.
True unripe plantain flour is delicious.
Yes, true unripe plantain flour is what I serve my husband for swallows. It's easy to prepare, fortified with vitamin A, low in sugar and cholesterol, rich in fiber that helps the heart, builds and strengthens the bone, and his energy level is boosted.
Through unripe plantain flour, no additives, 100% natural, a product of Pali Agro Products Nigeria. Through unripe plantain flour, available in all leading stores nationwide.
Most people don't understand the magic of a perfect skin, the allure of a well-pampered skin. We bounce from skincare products to skincare products, from spa to spa. Looking for that ideal solution. I found the solution. And it's Blemiville Skincare and Spa. My name is Neil, and I'm proud to be a part of the Blemiville family.
Mama, you're coming to Lagos. Banga. Baby, Mama just called me now. She's coming to see you. She asked me to tell you to make banga soup for her. And she's close to the house. Oh.
How do you expect me to prepare banga in just few minutes?
I have a solution for you.
Really?
If you no sabi cook the banga, no go enter my family.
Pali banga is used in making other exotic dishes such as banga jollof rice, banga efo riro, banga asaro or yam porridge, banga egusi, and many more. Pali banga is easy to open, no preservatives, no cholesterol, and no coloring. Approved by NAFDAC. Manufactured by Pali Agro Products Limited. Available in all leading stores and supermarkets nationwide.
Pali banga, natural palm fruit extracts for tasty African cuisine.
You go enter market, just make you go buy fresh palm fruits. When you reach house, you go wash, you go pound, your body go dey pain you, even your fingernails go dey pain you. But make una no worry, make una relax. I get good news for una. Una don hear of banga fresh palm fruit extract. All you need to do now make you go for the up, open am, take the amount wey you want, put am for your pot. Which soup you wan make? Shey na egusi, shey na ogbono, shey na vegetable, shey na banga. My sister no waste time again, my brother no waste time again. Just go buy banga fresh palm fruit extract. They go know say you sabi cook and you be better cook.
Banga, come make your food yummy yum.
Distributors needed nationwide. Phone number 081 63974447, 08035644436, 07066638213. Banga Fresh Palm Fruit Extract.
Powerful looks command respect, they say. The perfect body, the perfect grooming, and ultimately the perfect skin. Looks, style, and grooming makes the ultimate man. I've found a ridiculously easy way to make my skin always feel epic. My name is Neo. I found Blemiviv, and now my skin finally makes sense.
Swift Dry Cleaners Limited, professional dry cleaners, best in dry cleaning and laundry services, and meets the needs of our consumers. Yeah, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Yeah. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Yeah, for clean wash and quick delivery. Yeah, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. For clean wash and quick delivery.
Swift Dry Cleaners. Clean wash, quick delivery.
True unripe plantain flour is 100% natural flour gotten from the processing of unripe plantain. It contains no addictive and has a net content of 500 grams. True unripe plantain flour contains vitamin A, B6 and C. It is gluten-free and rich in calcium. Consuming true unripe plantain flour helps to build and strengthen stronger bones and can be a great meal for diabetic patients. It decreases your chances of constipation as it has a high fiber content and provides you with a low-fat diet. Here are some steps to prepare your true unripe plantain flour. Firstly, mix true unripe plantain flour with hot water in a pot and gradually add water till you achieve desired thickness. Place over medium heat and turn very well for 4 to 5 minutes to get the right texture. Mold into a ball and place in a bowl and allow to cool. Serve with your choice of soup. True unripe plantain flour can be eaten with any variety of soup, be it your ofe oha, ofe onugbu, gbegiri, ewedu, or your miyan kuka. To get your true unripe plantain flour, contact us at 12 Olowera Isheri Road by First Welder bus stop off Omole Phase 2, Olowera, Lagos, Nigeria, or call 070-6663-8213 or 081-6397-4447. Distributors are needed nationwide. Glad to have you back on iBrand Daybreak. And now it's time to review some top stories on the national day this morning. And I'll be starting with the Punch paper. The banner headline here says, enforce compulsory vaccination for local governments, state workers, the federal government tells governors. And that's on page 2, with the writer saying NPHCDA urges states to set up mass vaccination sites in markets. Others, vaccination grounds 4.2%. 38 deaths recorded first week in January. Further down, Grandpa, Brazil returnee undergraduate arrested with cocaine, tramadol, and cannabis. That's on page 5. I removed my second testicle to kill sexual urge. UI 500 level medicine dropout. And that's on page 13. Commercial bus driver stabs lover's husband to death in Ogun State. And that's on page 4. Akeredolu vows to end herdsmen attack in Ondo State. And now to the earpiece of the paper said federal government excessive borrowings from CBN threatens exchange rates and others. That's a report on page 23. Senate probes 14.7 billion naira PHCN privatization fund in secret accounts. Capital importation falls by 1.6 trillion naira, says the CBN. And finally, on page 2 says federal government issues Lassa fever alert. Death toll hit 102 cases, now 4,632 cases.
Moving on to the Nation newspaper, the headline here reads, NLC mobilizes for protests against hike in petroleum price. Action planned for January 27. TUC takes decision on electricity tariffs January 20th. Now to the banner headline there, you have experts, CBN policies can't rescue Naira. You also have uneasy calm in APC's governor's camp over convention. And the episode paper reads, fleeing Ondo killer headers in Edo, says Akeredolu. AUGF queries BPE over hidden 14.7 billion naira proceeds. And you also have ECOWAS hits Mali with border and other sanctions. NSAS insurers set aside 13.2 billion naira compensation. And that's what you have on page 11 there on the Nation newspaper.
Now to the Nigerian Tribune, APC may adopt consensus ahead of February convention. That's on page 23. That's the banner headline. How federal government spent about 56.9 billion naira on women youth in 2021 fiscal year. That story is on page 6. Bandits released additional 30 students teacher in Kebbi after 6 months. Page 27 has the story. And still on page 27 says, man 76 fake security agent in NDLEA nets over imported drug, chocolates, cookies and others. So the bottom stream of the paper says, process to authenticate next Olubadan continues tomorrow. Osun PDP crisis, Oyinlola, Oyedokun, others weighed in. With the writer saying, Guber aspirants write NWC, that's on page 23. And to the EFP says, 2 years after deadline, more than 50% of Nigerian private school teachers still unqualified from the CRCN story on page 5. And finally, the continued story on page 9 on the Magodo infamy. You can have that story on page 9 of the Nigerian Tribune.
Moving on now to the Business Day newspaper, the headline here reads, Nollywood rights digital adoption to get world's attention. Nollywood rights digital adoption to get world's attention. You also have Nigerian mutual funds shrink, first time in 5 years. And another rider there reads, Nigeria's 1.4 billion soft drink market to slow on excise tax. And MTN public offer share allotment likely in February. And there you have it, talking about the major headlines we have for you on today's edition of our newspaper review. We'll go on a quick break right now. When we return, we'll delve into a discussion of the day, and our guest is right here with us. So stick around.
Powerful looks command respect, they say. The perfect body, the perfect grooming, and ultimately the perfect skin. Looks, style, and grooming makes the ultimate man. I've found a ridiculously easy way to make my skin always feel epic. My name is Neo. I found Blemiviv, and now my skin finally makes sense.
Glad to have you join us back on iBrand Daybreak. And now, following the recent massacre of over 200 people by bandits in some part of Zamfara state, President Muhammadu Buhari has vowed to hunt down and eliminate terrorists, including those who committed the mass killings in the state. This came as governors of the 19 northern states of the Federation have, however, lauded the federal government for approving the deployment of the newly acquired Super Tucano fighter jet towards the bandits in some parts of the country. And joining us to make sense of this conversation, we have with us Femi Emmanuel. Good morning, Femi Emmanuel. And
good morning.
Thank you for joining us.
Glad to be here.
All right, now before we go straight into the discussion, I'll just read something else. Now, with about 16 months left for the Buhari administration, you will recall the president in his Christmas message promised Nigerians to bring an end to killings and kidnappings. Okay, Femi, I think this is a very good place to start this conversation. Now, we saw the bizarre sides of what happened in Zamfara State, which has always been a norm in the northern Nigeria for a while now. And I was going to ask you before this now, the president said he was going to bring an end to insecurity before he leaves power. And reactions from Nigerians were like, okay, something that was not done in 6 years, would it be done in less than 16 months? It seemed possible for the president and his crew, but to Nigerians, how realistic do you think this is?
Great question. I would love to look at it quickly from three perspectives.
Okay.
Before you assume office, there is an assumption of what you think the problem is. As soon as you are handed over to as an insider, there are insights, there are information you don't have access to as an outsider, that once you assume office, you begin to see things clearly and you understand those who mastermind some of these things and probably how you begin to look at things differ. Now, on the other hand, Nigerians whose hopes have been raised as at before they assumed office and still expecting such level of delivery while these guys are in office. Now, putting all of this, the three things I want to set out is one, we have a problem generally with our security architecture, and I think I've delivered paper like twice on that, and it's a pity it's not something that can be done drastically. It's something that all state houses of assembly, even the National Assembly, have to actually look out to harmonize, and I'll tell you why. Most of these bandits, most of these people that foment trouble are members of the community. Traditional leaders know them, members of the community know them. The state governors may not know them, local government chairmen may not know them, but are traditional rulers actually part of our security architecture? No. No, they are not. So definitely you expect that a policeman that does not speak your language, that was posted from probably Abuja somewhere, should now be the one to fish out some of these people that are perpetrating, not even when the Nigerian police force means of receiving instructions is actually from the top. So you find out that I can give you more instances surrounding that's about the security architecture. Then you agree with me that to even achieve anything, there's a need for us to look at it holistically. Secondly, on the other hand, is the fact that for a very long time, especially leaving the military era down to the democratic era, it was difficult for Nigerian government to acquire military hardware. Why? The fear of coup, the fear of being, there was a time during the Obasanjo regime that this bomb blast happened in Ikeja, and there were speculations that it was actually to probably triple his government over. So, series of democratic leaders have been very afraid to acquire hardwares. And not until this present administration. Aside that, what I've also observed is that there's a difference between when you acquire and when those things actually land or when those things come in. And you look at the space of so many damage that would have occurred before those things arrive. So if you look at, and there are other countries, especially what we call the seven security nation council or something, US being the lead, there are stakes that they have in you acquiring all of these hardwares. And until these bandits were actually labeled officially as terrorists, it was difficult to even deploy anything against them because it is easier for lawyers to now come from the angle of human rights. So if you look at all of this, there also is another angle that Nigeria has porous borders. So looking at all of this is not all the problem, but looking at some of these things I've picked out, you will understand that we need to rework our security architecture too. There's a need for our National Assembly and State House of Assemblies to sit up and harmonize what we feel is the way forward. 3, we need to also start calling out governors. They have security votes, but members of their community are not calling them out. They have security votes that they do not do anything about.
Okay, let me take you on. You've said an array of points. You've given an array of points, and I'll just like to pick on 2 or 3.
Okay.
It seems you're towing the line of the precedent.
Okay.
When it comes to issues of insecurity in states are local,
okay,
and local leaders or traditional leaders know them. I had the privilege of sitting with one of the president's top aides just days back, and he echoed the same thing. It was just a day before the president's exclusive interview days back. Now, are you calling for state policing? That's one,
okay,
with regards to how you've addressed this issue. Then 2, when you talk about local leaders or state governors being called out, they have security votes and they're probably not doing enough. When you consider the policing structure we have in the system now, do you still think that the onus falls on the governor when he doesn't even have command of the police force within the state to actually go about it? I mean, the saga we saw with a CSP, being defiant to the governor right there in front of him is a prime example of the way our federalism is structured. So those are 2 questions. The state policing of a thing, is that what you're calling for when you talk about the system we have now in terms of our policing? Then 2, regardless of security votes, how well do you think the governors, based on this current system, can address these issues?
Very quickly, I love the angle you're looking at these security issues from, and I need to say that I've been an advocate for state policing for some of us that have 1 or 2 international exposures. You understand that there is always the federal. And honestly speaking, even I can give you other parastatals that all of these things work. We have the FIRS, we have the states, and even the local government, they have ways of collecting revenues. And the funniest thing, there has, even though to an extent there are clashes of interest, because for someone like me that is an entrepreneur, you find out that you are doing double taxation multiple taxation. Yeah. But the truth is, there have always been ways of managing all of these things. How come we're not looking at the security architecture, which is actually the major problem that Nigeria is facing at the moment?
But the president just came out, sorry to interrupt, just days ago to say that state policing is not an option, at least for the next 16 months.
I have actually expressed my opinion as regards that, because some of us expect that the National Assembly is supposed to actually properly legislate about the state policing. The state assemblies are supposed to actually have a harmonized, and they can use their power, they can veto whatever. But where we have clash of interest as a nation, there are fears that the state governors will become too powerful and will begin to victimize members of the opposition, looking at some of the experiences we've had in the past. The state governors that seem to feel powerless, when it comes to intimidating an opposition, you find that they know how to mobilize, they know how to tip and get whatever they want done. But when it comes to helping the citizenry that they were actually voted to protect, you find out that they begin to give lame excuses. So I'm an advocate for the state police. We may not actualize that now, especially looking at the confab reports and some of the things that were recommended, and how we honestly we will get there, but it may not be an immediate solution. Yeah, looking at our immediate solution, I've said it earlier on that the traditional leaders need to look. 4 or 5 weeks ago, a woman was caught that actually trafficked her daughters and other people's daughters as sex slaves to the bandits. So that means members of the community, she carries weapons to them. So when you can't tell me the traditional ruler in that community probably does not have an idea of what.
Let me take you on, really. I'm sorry. Quick one. When you say traditional rulers, the truth is, do you even know the traditional ruler where you reside? Most people don't know the traditional rulers, apart from the paramount ones, like maybe your Oni of Ife or your Oba of Lagos. I mean, if you ask who is the Oba of Ikeja, for example, for most Ikeja residents, they do not even know. So when you say traditional rulers have a role to play in terms of, ensuring that security is not porous as we have it now, isn't that misplaced, considering there's really no relationship between the traditional rulers and the people who reside in their communities?
Very quickly, at the state level and at the local government level, there is always a commissioner and a super for chieftaincy titles and whatever. The government paid these guys salaries. Yes. I'm sure you know, and they're actually doing nothing. So I'm of the opinion that this is high time they work for whatever they are being paid for. They have traditional council of whatever that is in every state. The governors should just find a way to get them to do more. See, you guys are our ears. You see, until you give people responsibilities, that's when you now know how effective they can be, especially when they are on the payroll of the state government.
All right, Femi, I want to hit on one of the questions my colleague asked when he asked about he asked two questions in one. Now, the second one talked about the policing structure, which he made reference to what happened with the governor of Lagos State and the CSP in Magodo. Now, I want to relate it to the security structuring. We've seen cases, or we've heard and seen cases where the military wants to bring some weapons or want to strategize a plan to meet these bandits and to go into their camp, and they're putting it open to the public. Now, is that structure? That's a structure on its own. More like giving prior information to someone you're about to attack. Of course, you don't expect them to sit back and watch you come attack them. Super Tucano jets are supposed to come in fine. But giving information to the general public, knowing fully well that there's sabotage in the system, not everyone is on the same page with you. So I don't think that's a very good structuring in terms of even the policing system, the general security system of Nigeria. So what's your take on all of that?
To a very large extent, I want to agree with you that no human system is perfect. And there will be one or two. In fact, without the military even coming out to read some statements, there are insiders that sabotage the efforts. So most times, as a strategist myself, there are times that you release information because you probably want to set a time bomb or use it as a trap. I don't know, maybe you get what I'm trying to say. Sometimes you want to use it as a trap so that your enemies probably walk towards that direction while you prepare in an anti format. Nonetheless, it's obvious that there has been conflict of interest. I won't lie to you. There has actually been conflict of interest. The members of the host community in which bandits attack, the military personnel who quote unquote seem to want to help out, and they having people sabotaging efforts. There are also there are foreigners. I don't want to mention the names of the countries. Foreigners that are picked up, and you find out that they are the ones that are into gun running and whatever. So I feel there's this gang up that is not really completely clear at the moment, and whatever government is doing, they're just trying to beat around the bush to just make sure that it looks like they're on top of the situation. But one thing I know for sure is now that these guys have been labeled terrorists, and some of these new equipments can be deployed to flush out our forests, I'm expecting some means of surrender. Not like they want to surrender because they really mean it, but that's another means for them to go back and re-strategize.
Let me just quickly before we wrap up this segment, because we have another segment with you. Back to the question I asked, the first question I asked, the president in this Christmas message. I know you answered this in 3 different angles, but you didn't really. No, I need a clear term because you're an analyst. You're seasoned one, and now, of course, you mentioned you have international experience, which it's very correct from your profile. Fixing insecurity in less than 16 months, as an analyst with a lot of international experience, how realistic, with all the back and forth, how realistic do you think, from your point of view, do you think this is clear? Just briefly.
There is always a long-term goal, short-term goal, and a medium-term goal. In the long-term goal, as far as security is concerned, they're going to fail.
Okay. But in 16 months.
But short-term goal meaning that probably what we may end up having will be period of violence, not really a large scale. That is probably possible. That does not mean insecurity will be completely eradicated. It's not possible.
Thank you so much for that.
Okay, let's go on a quick break right now. When we return, we'll delve into another discussion with Femi Emmanuel, who is still here with us. Please do stay tuned.
True unripe plantain flour is 100% natural flour gotten from the processing of unripe plantain. It contains no addictive and has a net content of 500 grams. True unripe plantain flour contains vitamin A, B6 and C. It is gluten-free and rich in calcium. Consuming through unripe plantain flour helps to build and strengthen stronger bones and can be a great meal for diabetic patients. It decreases your chances of constipation as it has a high fiber content and provides you with a low-fat diet. Here are some steps to prepare your through unripe plantain flour. Firstly, mix through unripe plantain flour with hot water in a pot and gradually add water till you achieve desired thickness. Place over medium heat and turn very well for 4 to 5 minutes to get the right texture. Mold into a ball and place in a bowl and allow to cool. Serve with your choice of soup. Through unripe plantain flour can be eaten with any variety of soup, be it your ofe oha, ofe onugbu, begiri, ewedu, or your miyan kuka. To get your through unripe plantain flour, contact us at 12 Olowera Isheri Road by First Welder bus stop off Omole Phase 2, Olowera, Lagos, Nigeria, or call 070-6663-8213 or 081-6397-4447. Distributors are needed nationwide.
Oh boy, winning you was so easy.
I just couldn't stand those your powerful shots. That's what happened.
Really? Let's go to my place for dinner.
This fufu is so nice.
It's through unripe plantain flour.
True unripe plantain flour is delicious.
Yes, true unripe plantain flour is what I serve my husband for swallows. It's easy to prepare. Fortified with vitamin A, low in sugar and cholesterol, rich in fiber that helps the heart, builds and strengthens the bone, and his energy level is boosted.
Through unripe plantain flour, no additives, 100% natural, a product of Pali Agro Products Nigeria. Through unripe plantain flour, available in all leading stores nationwide.
Thanks for staying tuned. You are still watching iBrand Daybreak. Now it's time for our second discussion of the day. Under the aegis of the National Association of Electricity Distributions, DISCOs have disclosed that the federal government parastatals, ministries, departments and agencies are owing over 90 billion naira in terms of electricity bill. Now they've said that this debt definitely impacts on their operations. And to discuss this with us is still Femi Emmanuel, who is here with us. Femi, for the government that implores its people to, do their civic responsibility, to carry out their civic responsibility in terms of paying taxes and other levies. This is ironic at the very least. What do you make of this?
It is shameful. It's annoying, and honestly, Nigerians will always have leaders like we are. It's a mindset thing. Honestly, it's a mindset thing. And although the 90 billion is an accumulation since like 2013.
2013,
yeah, but it's actually very shameful. I wouldn't. How will any serious organization break even with a debt of 90 billion? And we are still at the forefront of complaining that power supply or distribution or generation, as it were, depending, is inadequate, or we're not getting value. When imagine that, you know what 90 billion we actually do? 90 billion is so much. It's really so much. If you ask me, it comes from negligence to this. The Yorubas say wisely that Ogata, meaning that either we work or we didn't work. It's a government thing. It's a national cake. So we just have to use it the way we like. I wouldn't be surprised. Sometimes they may even leave the AC on and go home, come back the next day. Something that isn't your property. You know how people tend to use things like that. But 90 billion is annoying.
Honestly. These debts were they continue to pile up since the sector was privatized in 2013. Like 90 billion is an accumulation of 2013 till date, and it comes after the privatization of this sector. So one would be tempted to say that was the privatization a very good idea.
One of the reasons why this thing is even out,
that's because it's privatized.
it's because it was privatized. Because those guys are now, there's a way private companies are profit-oriented, irrespective of how you see it. So one of the reasons, that means there are certain things or there are certain amounts that would have been written off before that privatization.
It's a good idea.
Yeah. So privatization is actually a good idea. But the way the government went about privatizing the electricity is a topic for another day, actually. But looking at privatization in a country where we have to look at public-private partnership to actually make things work, I think it's a good idea.
Let me take you on now with it's in excess of 90 billion naira. And just as you said, that's because it's now privately owned and that's what's out there in the public. Do you think folks should be prosecuted for this? Because the government probably, had to pay for this and someone else probably channeled the funds somewhere else in terms of either misappropriation or embezzlement. Now, do you think there should be an investigation into this and folks who are found culpable should, be indicted?
Pay for it,
it can be for media trial or to actually prove a point, but I'm so sure that because this administration likes the rider fighting corruption, even though I do not believe there is a fight. I'm being sincere, I do not believe that. But there's this rider of fighting corruption. I think they want to take this up just to prove a point and add it to their list of whatever achievements they think they have.
All right. Femi, we don't have so much time for the one-to-one time we'll be able to take, but thank you so much for sharing your thoughts on this conversations.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. That was Femi Emmanuel, a public affairs analyst. So we're going to go straight right into social media buzz right now to just lighten up the segment and water it down for you a bit. The tensions have been high Mondays and always like this. Now, on social media buzz today, we have the particular one that says about the veteran the veteran actress Toto Dike said, warning parents. Now, she said something. I'll just read it for you quickly. And she said she shared what she would do if her child is bullied, as she advises parents to train their kids properly. Now, in a recent media post, she said that she wouldn't be taking it lightly if anyone bullies her kids. With the case of Sylvester, Oromoni, and Karen, and those cases have been hurting her. So she said, dear parents, train your children well. Train them well, because I wouldn't tolerate a pinch if your child hurts mine. I will burn down your generation. I will make you feel my pain 100 times over. Tell your children to avoid mine. And some of the reactions are saying, official Loso said, someone bullied my younger brother sometime last term in school. He reported to my mom because the student is in SS3. On the next day, no year word, she blocked the school gate with her car and then locked the gate inside with padlock. She brought Mekona Kuku kill me. Please also teach your children how to speak up. Very important.
Well, here's another comment from Subara23, which says, this is my father. Oh, man never tolerated anything done to his kids. He would burn hospitals and schools. Chai. My heart goes out to Sylvester and Karen's families. Wallahi, I wouldn't imagine or try put myself in those mothers' shoes, because I'll be mad already. Imagine sending your baby to school and be called to an almost dead child. My father would have burnt down Dowen College long time if he was that child.
And as another reacting, say, Sheeport Empire has reacted and said, no dear, I was a brother, reacting to a comment she made. I was a brother and my kid's sister was. And believe me, it's one of the best things that happened to us. Let's just pray. Let us be breaded monsters don't get to see our kids, because not only in boarding school, we see them, they are still in day school. I think this lady just spoke my mind. I was having a conversation with a friend yesterday. I was telling him, I don't think I'll be able to put my kids in boarding school, because that modeling instinct of, maybe not that it could be a very good school, but I may be eating. I was eating something, and I was like, if I'm eating this, I'm there wondering, what's my child eating today? What is he eating? I might be eating a very wonderful, sumptuous meal. I'm wondering, I'm here eating this food. If I would have loved to share with this boy or this girl, what is he eating? Is he even okay? Is he missing home? And he was like, no, he went to a boarding school. It was one of the best experiences he had. That shaped him. And he made this this reaction, this argument of these things. A child that wants to be bad will be bad. A child that wants to be good will be good. And then they have bullies everywhere. So
even in their schools.
You know, this motherly instinct of, I just want my babies to grow with me. You know that thing.
I understand where the whole concern comes from, but we should understand, just as your friend said, that bullies both in boarding schools and day schools. The same way you have good kids in day schools, you also have bad ones as well. So it's not necessarily about where the child is in terms of be it a boarding school or a day school. I think it has more to do with individual children being trained the right way by parents, and that's where I think we all need to do better. Personally, I do not subscribe to Tonto Dike's assertion or a stance of violence, begetting violence and all of that. I understand where it's coming from, the place of motherhood, maternal instinct, the need to protect your child from harm or bullying and all of that, especially the mental and psychological impact it has. But having said all of that, I still do not subscribe to, the notion that we should beget violence with violence. I think for all it's worth, if a child is bullied, the parents definitely should wade in, bring the school authorities to, to be informed about the development and all, but it shouldn't get to the point of an eye for an eye. We shouldn't raise our children that way. Remember, children are innocent. Children are innocent. You see them, they do not have worries. It's when they grow up and they, imbibe certain ideologies from parents or friends
and they become who they are.
Yeah, but generally children are innocent.
Yeah, actually there's a need to speak up. There's a need to talk. As a young child, you've been bullied, or the tendencies of being bullied, speak up before it gets too late. And parents also, I do not think any mother or father would want that kind of thing for a child. But like you said, an eye for an eye will only make the world go blind. And if the world goes blind, who is going to lead? We'll all fall into a ditch. And that's all we have for today on iBrand Daybreak. We're glad you joined us from the beginning to the end. The social media balls, this newspaper review, the news updates was an amazing back-to-back effect. Please do well to join us tomorrow, same time, same station. I'll leave you with a quote from John Wooden that says, "Things work out best for those who make the best of how things work out." Take that again, says things work out best for those who make the best of how things work out. And like I like to say, life throws you lemon, you make lemonade. Life throws you pepper, you make pepper soup. My name is Margaret Opara. Thanks for watching.
And I'm Samson Lady. Thank you so much, Femi Emmanuel, for joining us. Thanks to the production crew for making this happen. And to you, our viewers, you guys are really the bomb. Thank you so much. Do have a wonderful day.